என்னடா யோசிக்கிற? There is nothing to think so much மச்சான். தைரியமா போ. ட்ரஸ்டபிள்ரா. 3 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி என்ன பார்த்துருக்கல, இப்போ நான் பார்க்குறல்ல. How confident I am because I have taken a right decision. நான் கொடுத்த அட்ரஸ் போய் விசிட் பண்ணு. You will have a personal care from them.
எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. All eye care treatment under one roof. அதான் ஆர்கே ஐ சென்டரோட ஸ்பெஷாலிட்டி.
My dear children of God, it's my pleasure to be with you all once again for this episode, How to Lead a Life that would be pleasing to the Lord. For the past few weeks, we have been dealing on the subject, what we should overcome if God is going to reward overcomers, several things as revealed in the book of Revelation. There are several things to overcome, but one of the chief things that a man has to overcome is sexual sin. God had ordained in such a way that to Adam he gave Eve as a helper. He wanted monogamy, only one person to one person, not many wives to a male or many males to a female. We see in the nature there are several species like wolf, bald eagle, so many things. They are all swan. They are all made to join together for once and for all. They are mates for life. Even if the mate dies, they don't go and pick up another partner. But when it comes to man, God had put a command. Even in Deuteronomy 17:17, he says, even when a king is there, he should not take many wives, in spite of him being a king. So God wanted a pure and righteous life, not being a slave to sin, especially sexual sin. So in today's episode, we are going to see how this temptation had come, how many characters have fallen down, how many biblical characters overcame that. These are all the lessons we should learn so that we will be careful. When Adam and Eve have eaten the forbidden fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, their eyes were opened. What do we mean by that? Were they closed earlier? No. Physically it was opened, but now having eaten that forbidden fruit, their sexual urges got kindled and they could see the other person with attraction. We know that when children, say 2 years, 3 years, when small children, even if they are naked, even with the opposite sex, like boys and girls, if they are 1 year and 2 year old, they don't realize they are naked. Their spiritual eyes have not yet been opened, though the physical eyes were opened. Same was the case with Adam and Eve. Their eyes were opened physically, but only after eating the forbidden fruit, their eyes were opened. Where do we see that? We see that in Genesis 3rd chapter verses 6 and 7. It goes like this. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. See, here it's very clearly told to us that when they ate it, their eyes were opened. Eyes were opened means there's a sexual attraction. Now we see which Bible character in the Bible, in spite of that, escaped from such a sin. That comes in the life of Joseph. We know Joseph was the son of Jacob, and he was sold to the slave traders, the Egyptians, by his own brothers because of the jealousy, and he was made a servant in Potiphar's house at the age of 17, and after some time, when he was full of vigor and youth, Potiphar's wife had an eye on him. She was repeatedly calling him to bed to have sex with her. But because he feared God, mind you, at that time God had not yet given Torah. Moses had not yet come into the picture. That will happen after 400 years. He didn't have Bible, he didn't have any written code, yet he was fearful of God. When she was calling him to bed, he said, how can I do an evil thing like this? Your husband, Potiphar, except for eating his food, has left everything to me. Nothing here in this house is not under my control. That being the case, How can he do such an evil thing? And he flees from her. In spite of that, one day she catches him and he leaves his dress and runs. That is how he overcomes his trap for sin. And she holds that cloth and shouts, and when Potiphar comes, she twists the story, we know that, and she says that this Hebrew slave tried to molest me. So Potiphar also, without making a deep inquiry, will put him into prison. That is how Joseph overcame sexual temptation. Let us see how David fell, man of God's own heart, later, after 500 years or so. When kings were expected to go for war, he didn't go, he was sleeping. In the book of Genesis 4th chapter 6 and 7, we see God warning Cain that he must do good to escape temptation. That comes in Genesis 4th chapter 6 and 7 verses. Then the Lord said to Cain, why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at the door. It desires to have you. You must rule over it. See, here God says, keep your mind occupied and always try to do good. But 2 Samuel 11th chapter, when we go, David, when he was expected to go out for war during the springtime to expand his kingdom, he was sleeping. He was not doing any good. So temptation is knocking at his door. Satan is trying to keep a trap. That is what we find in 2 Samuel 11th chapter, verses beginning from 1 to 5. In the spring, at the time when kings go off to war, David sent Joab out with the king's men and the whole Israelite army. They destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah. But David remained in Jerusalem. One evening, David got up from his bed and walked around the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful, and David sent someone to find out about her. The man said, she is Bathsheba, daughter of Eliam, and the wife of Uriah the Hittite. Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him, and he slept with her. Now she was purifying herself from her monthly uncleanliness. And she was sent back. The woman conceived and sent word to David saying, I am pregnant. See, here we see when God is asking us to be doing good, here David did not bother to go out for war, which was his duty. See how he fell from grace. Because he was resting when he was supposed to be occupied with his assignments, he lost control. Temptation strikes. When he saw a beautiful woman bathing, first he sees her, then mind ponders. That is where we have to be careful. The moment we see someone like that, we should immediately turn to the other side and try to flee, like how Joseph did. Here, David is allowing temptation to rule over him. He sees, he ponders, he inquires, he calls, he has sex with her, and finally falls from the grace of God. And we know what had happened, what punishment God communicated through Nathan later. The blood will not leave your house, sword will not leave. What you try to do in secret, will your own relative will do it in public, and it had happened. So my dear children of God, sexual sin is a very strong urge a man or a woman has to overcome, and only by God's grace we can do that. And for that we have to be obedient, we should be prayerful, we should flee whenever such a situation we are put into. Samson is another character. Solomon, his own son, also fell to sexual sin, in the sense, in 1 Kings 11th chapter, in the first few verses we see, King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women besides Pharaoh's daughter, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, Hittites. They were from nations about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not intermarry from them, because they will surely turn your heart after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast to them in love. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wife led him astray. As Solomon grew old, his wives turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. He followed Ashtaroth, the goddess of Sidonians, and Moloch, the detestable god of Ammonites. So Solomon did evil in the eyes of the Lord. He did not follow the Lord completely, as David his father had done. So my dear children of God, here we see how women tempt and men fall. we should be careful. We also see how Samson fell, mighty Samson. Goliath was killed by David with a slingshot. But mighty Samson fell to Delilah, we know that. And he told the secret that his strength is in not getting his hair shaved. The moment he told that, Delilah got it neatly shaved and he lost everything. And same is the case with Israelites in the Numbers 25th chapter, first 3 verses. We see the Moabites will come and lure them for sexual orgies. And the moment all these men go there, God's anger will come on them and several men die. So my dear children of God, we have to be very careful with sexual sin and we will have to overcome. If you want to see the other episodes of this, you can always visit www.divinetruth.asia, the website, or YouTube MM NARENDRANATH. Till I meet you next time, I take leave. Thank you.
Appointment வாங்கிட்டல?
வாங்கிட்டேன்க்கா.
Hey, why are you getting nervous? Last month பிரியா குட்டியோட அங்க தான் விசிட் பண்ணேனா. எக்கனாமிக்கல்டா. இன்சூரன்ஸ் கூட claim பண்ணிக்கலாம். Premature babiesல இருந்து old age people வரைக்கும் விசிட் பண்ற ஒரு இடம்.
எல்லா பேஷண்ட்ஸுக்கும் பர்சனல் கேர் தராங்க. 30 years of proven medical records. ஆர்கே ஐ சென்டர் டி நகர்ல இருக்கிறதுனால accessible to all places.
Youngsters, you guys must take the right decision at the right time with the right people.